Hi, Rich Tehrani here in the TMC newsroom. We're at the Cloud Expo at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. It's 2010, and on our program today is Sujal Das with Mellanox Technologies. How are you?
Very good, Rich. Thank you.
Thanks for being on our program.
You're welcome.
Can you give me a little overview of your company, please?
Sure. So the company I work for is Mellanox Technologies. I'm a senior director of product management. Mellanox Technologies provides connectivity solutions for connecting servers together and connecting servers and storage together. We provide very high bandwidth and low latency connectivity products that increase the utilization of servers, helping customers realize return on investment and able to do more with less. The company is headquartered in Sunnyvale, the business headquarters, and the R&D headquarters are in Israel. The company is 10 years old, so we celebrated our 10-year anniversary recently, and we have been public since 2005, as well as profitable since 2005. In spite of the downturn last year and the year before, we were able to maintain our profitability thanks to our customers. The main channels that we market our products through are OEMs, the big server OEMs such as IBM, Dell, HP, etc., as well as a lot of the storage OEMs. And through these channels, we service end users in the high-performance computing, in the enterprise data center, and also in the embedded networking space.
So you make it easier for companies to scale applications across servers? Is that one way of saying it?
Exactly, Rich. So our technologies allow servers to do more. So typically when you deploy gigabit Ethernet networking in the data centers today, given that the servers have multi-core processors, they can run a lot of applications, they can run a lot of virtual machines. What happens is when your network is something like gigabit Ethernet that can do up to 1 gigabits per second of throughput, your CPU is at a wait state a lot of times, so your server is not utilized to the greatest extent. What we do with our technology is we provide 40 times that bandwidth. That's 40 times, 40 gigabits per second bandwidth. So we completely open up the networking pipe to allow the servers to communicate with each other and servers to communicate with storage very fast. And by doing so, we allow the CPU in the servers to provide the full potential. So the result is that what you can do probably with 10 servers connecting with gigabit Ethernet, you could do it with 5 servers. And there are multiple use cases in the industry today. One of them is being shown at the Cloud Expo in the Oracle booth, the Oracle Exadata machine that they're showing. That is a true example of using our technology where Oracle is able to deliver 10 times the performance with 1/5 the hardware.
Wow. Wow, so really you're making the computers more efficient.
Exactly.
Right, so there's an massive efficiency gain here. And so what's the cost-benefit analysis in terms of purchasing your technology versus the ROI that you get? I mean, I know it probably depends on application and all of that, but...
So the Oracle example, I can repeat again, and then we have 4 or 5 case studies that we are presenting at our booth at this show. All of these have to do with being able to do more with fewer servers. So you can simply think of it as paying, let's say, 2 times the cost in terms of networking ports, but saving on half the servers that you deploy. So the cost of servers versus a networking port obviously is significantly higher. So you deploy a little more expensive network ports, but you reduce the number of servers significantly.
And also I would imagine the server licenses as well, correct?
Exactly, that's a very big factor in the ROI. So in some of the ROI calculations we have done, there could be savings as large as $2 to $3 million over a period of 1 to 2 years. If you add up the cost of buying servers, cost of procuring all of the operating system and the application software that are sold on a per server license basis, as well as the power and space savings.
So it's really an arbitrage play, right? You make the money in between. You save the company money and they save money, and so you have this arbitrage between the inefficient way of doing things and now the more efficient way of doing things.
So it's a win-win for all.
Yeah, it's really interesting model that you have.
Yes.
So the natural question is, as optical networks speed up, and they are speeding up, I mean, tremendously, and you've got newer and newer technologies coming out, how does your company stay ahead of what seems to be an optical market that's really trying to outdo Moore's law, where you've got processors that are still stuck in the world of Moore's law, if that makes any sense? In other words, are you ever going to get to a point where the off-the-shelf speeds of optical connections are faster than the processors, and in other words, your technology becomes irrelevant?
So, so there are three elements to it. There is the processor, and in the server and the storage world, there is the bus, what is the PCI Express bus, for example, and then the network, and you have optical technologies that are deployed in the network, right? So server processing is going up by leaps and bounds, given multi-core processors, 8 cores, 16 cores. That's going up very fast. The PCI bus bandwidth, which is something that sits between the CPU and the network, is also going up. So PCI Express Generation 2 opened up the pipes significantly and enabled us to deliver 40 gigabits per second of throughput through the network. So it's a very nice match of the network throughput and the PCI bus bandwidth and what the CPU can deliver. Going forward, Intel and AMD and others are increasing the power of the processors further, and then the PCI Express bus is going to Generation 3, which is going to open up the pipes further, leading the way for higher than 40 gigabits per second bandwidth. So the next wave of bandwidth would be 80 gigabits per second, 100 gigabits per second, and we have been shipping 40 gigabits per second for almost 2 years now, and we believe we are in the forefront of getting to that 80 gigabits per second and 100 ahead of the rest of the pack.
Now, you also mentioned something very interesting, and that's the multi-core nature of today's processor. So really, when you take a multi-core processor and you've got Moore's law at the same time coming into effect, you're talking about multiple factors of speed increases of computers.
Exactly.
Meaning that there is going to be a need for even greater amounts of bandwidth. To connect the faster buses and faster connectivity.
Yes. The other megatrend that's happening is what you're seeing in this show, the cloud computing, right? And with cloud computing, there is increasing use of virtual machines per server.
Sure.
So those are increasing the load on the servers, increasing the need for higher throughput networks. And with cloud computing, you have more and more users wanting to use the same servers through deployment of VMs. And these users expect higher levels of service. They want to get the same level of service they get in their internal data centers. So the level of performance and availability that this variety of users that log into a service provider's network, to be able to deliver the right level of performance and availability, they need an infrastructure, a network infrastructure that can scale significantly. Right. And four of the case studies we are presenting in our booth all talk about specific deployment scenarios where they're solving this exact problem.
Well, that's very exciting. And so what's your website? Why don't you just give that out before we finish up?
Our website is www.mellanox.com.
Okay.
And if you go to our website, and we have a enterprise data center cloud computing section in our webpage where a lot of the case studies that we're presenting at this show are presented. And we'd love to have people look at those and see how our technologies can help cloud service providers deliver very high levels of service, performance, and availability. These are some of the key ingredients of cloud success for IDC and other industry analysis. And we help deliver those key elements.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much for being on the program.
This
was great. Good luck.
Thank you.